Hello, I'm Ned Flater, and I'm the Career Tech Education Director for Sequim School District. The slide presentation you're about to see will talk to you about our current capabilities and our vision forward. There are 5 things I'd like to cover today: our course offerings in CTE, our dual credit agreements, the current student enrollments that we have and how they break down into funding, our staff and their capabilities, and then a way ahead to increase capabilities. As you can see at the list before you, these are the current career tech education offerings that are currently offered at Sequim School District. You might notice that there's a lot more on there than the old vocational tech programs. This is because we are preparing students every day so that when they receive their graduation certificate, they can enter into a workforce that replicates, that these courses replicate. Part of that preparation process is to ensure that we're giving students opportunity for dual credit agreements with other colleges that are in our area. Currently, several of our high school programs are accredited through Peninsula, Olympic, and Yakima Valley College. This means simply that if a student takes one of these programs in the high school, they'll receive accreditation at one of these colleges for that program. Enrollment is key to the sustainment of CTE programs. Career Tech Ed programs are generally more expensive to run and to staff than general education programs. The state funds these programs at a higher level than they do general education programs. For instance, if a general education program, say AP Biology or Mathematics, is funded at a 1.0, a CTE program, Business Math or Biomedical Sciences, would be funded at a 1.3. What does this mean? It means that our enrollment into these programs gives us more funding. More enrollment, more funding. We currently have approximately 1,000 students enrolled in CTE programs from the middle school to the high school. Formulaically, this breaks down to a funding line for this year in the high school at 228 full-time equivalent students, and in the middle school, 45 full-time equivalent students. This full-time equivalency is achieved because on a 6-period day, one student may be involved in one period of CTE. Over the course of more than 1,000 students, we receive a funding line in accordance with that funding line, that equivalency. It is to note that our enrollment rates have gone up this year from last year. This is in large part due to 2 things. One, we added 2 new programs at the middle school that are CTE funded, and 2, we enhanced several of our programs at the high school, recruiting students into these programs. Our staff have to have certain requirements in order to teach in these CTE programs. Not only do they have to have their endorsement in their primary teaching certificate, but they need additional endorsements in what's called a CTE V code. Many of our staff come to us right out of industry, and they gain their teaching certificate, then come into the teaching world. It's important that we continue to attract industry accredited teachers into the CTE program. CTE teachers put in multiple hours post their standard classroom day. Every CTE teacher must be involved in a career tech student organization in which they advise into it. Career tech student organizations are the leadership component that we're providing to our students. These CTSOs, commonly you might know the FFA or the Future Business Leaders of America or the Future Health Professionals of America. There are approximately 8 affiliations throughout the state of Washington that a CTE student in a CTE program can affiliate with. We clearly have a dedicated staff We are receiving good resourcing from the state as our enrollments increase, but this resourcing is limited in that we cannot resource a new building. What we can do is we can take and resource new equipment that goes into a building. The challenge really is for SCWM that the industry grade equipment we want to put into the building cannot handle. Currently, I could give you a list of the number of challenges we have every day. Our culinary arts room, a converted home ec room from about 50 years ago, doesn't have appropriate plumbing, venting, or electrical to sustain the refrigeration, the dynamic cook stoves, or the filtration and drainage systems that are required in an industry-grade teaching platform. Our wood shop and our automotives share air pressure together to run their impact tools amongst a variety of other pieces of equipment. The problem is that our systems are so antiquated that they cannot support the new equipment that we're putting into those classrooms that are industry grade. We have leaky roofs over our computer-aided design classroom. We have some of the top of the line computers that right next to them is a bucket catching water through a roof that is long gone. We have portables that currently house our Ag Ed Science programs. The problem is the portables are too small for the class loads and the floors are rotting out. We've made do. We've worked around and fixed these buildings up to the degree that they can be. But in short, the buildings do not sustain electrical, plumbing, water, air, venting, HVAC systems that are consistent with the kinds of requirements that we must meet in the CTE world. So what's the workaround? The workaround is to develop a building that is literally designed to meet CTE requirements and is sustainable over time through just the resourcing that CTE receives annually. How do you do that? Well, this summer, we brought in what was called a community forum. People who attended this community forum were far and wide. We had business leaders, business owners, nonprofits, state representatives, county representatives, educators, college educators, faculty members from other schools, community involved citizens and community concerned citizens, and students. We also asked the chairman of the K-12 committee from the Senate, the state Senate, Liz Wellman, to come in and speak as well. We showed each one of these people our classrooms and the capabilities we currently have and the limitations that those same classrooms present. After her meeting with us, she was committed to finding $15 to $20 million in order that we would be able to build a building that had these and met these capabilities. Here's a letter that she wrote to some of her constituencies. The type of building we're looking at is one that is one contemporary, but two, open bayed, roomy, has enough large capacity to do a variety of things. We also would like to have a restaurant grade kitchen on one end of the building, 3 to 4 large open bays that are accessible by vehicles to drop off large projects, scaffolding, HVAC systems, some classrooms within the building, and that this building's primary activity would be to support the various CTE programs that are currently housed in underperforming classrooms. Can you imagine as a student walking into a building that has an open bay that's set aside just for your construction project, that you can work out of the rain in that project, learning the various skill sets, the scaffolding, the HVAC systems that are needed to conduct that, and then in a few months when your project's concluded, being another student walking into that same bay, working on a sheet metal project or an Ag Ed Sciences project or a biomed project that's requiring large open spaces to facilitate. I'm not talking about a pole barn. I'm talking about a building that literally can be used for multiple taskings. There could be secondary purposes for this building as well, whether these open bays could house large open community events, maybe used as a staging operation for a large community crisis event. We have also been partnering with Peninsula College, and we envision this building being used on the weekends for a SQUIM campus for Peninsula College or Olympic College. The proposed floor plan is fairly simple. 3 to 4 large open bays, 40 by 100 feet. Some classrooms that are generic, meaning that a teacher from there could take their current classroom laptop, move it into this for a limited amount of time, use the large bay, use the classroom, get their projects done, and then move back to their current classroom. And then a large kitchen, one that is much more suitable for teaching culinary arts and food science and safety than the current programs that we have. We see this building being modular in the sense that our classrooms will have storage capacity on top. The ability to come in and out of these classrooms will be designed based on the projects that you're doing as a teacher. Again, the design of the building is yet to be determined. Much of that design will depend on the amount of the grant that we're receiving from the state. The site of the project proposed right now is the field that's adjacent to Hendrickson Road and to SQUIM Avenue. This site is strategic in that it is close to parking, close to the middle school, close to the high school CTE programs that are currently in effect. The cost of this will be dependent upon the design and the amount of grant. We do not anticipate exceeding the cost of the grant that we will receive from the state. What's our part? Well, part of receiving that grant means that we're going to have to raise $1 million in matching funds. This can be done in in-kind services. It can be done in pledges, but we need $1 million to match to receive the 15 to 20 million that's been promised. We also need to continue moving forward with our organization in the terms of the design concept, the cost estimates, the timelines, and eventually receiving approval to break ground. We've achieved a lot of milestones since we've begun this journey. We currently have a proof of concept that has been authorized. We are determining our project funding. We are pursuing design elements, and we are facilitating community partnerships that are well energized, well organized to achieve the goals that we've established. Our current chair of our CTE steering committee is our superintendent, Regan Nichols. We have a communications arm that is currently putting together portfolios and speaking engagements regarding this project. We have a fundraising team that is meeting with nonprofits, county, city leadership, as well as state leadership. We have a design team that is currently taking a look at the various kinds of designs we want in order to make sure that we're not only meeting our current needs, but the emergent ones in the 5 and 10 years out. The project concept team is working diligently with the design team to ensure that not only the timelines and the costings and the concepts are deliverable, but achievable. And then finally, we have a community support team that has been actively seeking community support for the past 6 months. And I'm happy to report that we have a great deal of community support. Our business leaders, our nonprofits, our citizens all see this as a necessary project in order to not only improve but deliver upon the requirements that CTE can bring into our community. So what's our to-do list? Well, I want to have the opportunity to meet with you, talk with you about the various challenges that we're experiencing and the ways that the city can come alongside and partner with us to help meet those challenges. It could be on our watch that we field one of the newest contemporary buildings within our community that's going to serve our community for many, many years, long past our time here in leadership. Thank you very much. I look forward to answering your questions.